Hi, I'm Christy Teal, and this is my son Nick, who is home for the holidays. And so I thought that we would make one of Nick's favorite things, which is banana bread. I love banana bread because I'm always finding that I have some bananas that are too ripe. Plus bananas are super inexpensive, so it's a great bread to make to use up some ripe bananas. Okay, so we've already washed our hands and we're going to go ahead and get started. So I'm going to do the dry ingredients and Nick is going to do the bananas and the wet ingredients. So we're going to work at the same time, but you'll see how quick and easy this bread is to make. And then maybe while it's baking, maybe we'll make my apple cranberry crumble pie. What do you think about that?
Sounds good.
Okay, all right, so why don't you start by getting the bananas, mashing in the blender, and I'll start mixing up the dry ingredients. It calls for 1.5 cups of flour. Usually it calls for 3 ripe bananas. I happen to have 4 bananas and they're not really big, so I think they're gonna work absolutely perfectly. And so my flour is a gluten-free flour because I have celiac disease. Nick is lucky, he did not get the celiac gene, and so Nick can use regular flour, but I'm super sensitive. I don't like any cross-contamination in my kitchen, so I just always use gluten-free flour. And what I love about the gluten, and I've talked about this before, is sometimes it really almost makes things a little moister, but they don't last as long, which when we do banana bread, it doesn't usually last that long in the household anyway. All right, so that's our flour, and then it's just 1 teaspoon of baking soda. And 1/2 teaspoon of salt. Oops. There we go. Do you need help there? No. You can.
Technical difficulties.
I know, yeah. All right. Nick's a whiz with computers, not as much with the mixer. Perfect. Okay, so now we'll get that mashing up, and I'm going to grab the sugar because I forgot to put that out. We're going to do a mixture of white sugar and so what you can do is we're going to do 1/2 cup each. So go ahead and scoop out 1/2 cup of your white sugar, and we're going to do a light brown sugar as well. But if you don't have brown sugar, you can just do a whole cup. All right, now hold on a second. Here you go. Go ahead and pour that in. Perfect. And here's your brown sugar. I'm going to pack that a little bit more since you went a little skimpy on the white sugar. Here we go. Okay. Go ahead and mix that, Nick. Oh, it's perfect. Okay, you can go ahead and stop it. And you're gonna break 2 eggs in there. I find sometimes when I'm doing that, it's easier to lift this up so you don't get the shell in there. Perfect. I know, it's pressure. We don't want the shell in there. Uh-oh.
Yeah, it fell into
What happened? We had a little problem here. All right, what we'll do is let's put the egg in here and that way we can get the shell out. Actually, I think that took care of it.
Yeah.
There you go. Pour it on in. Beautiful. I know, it's nerve-wracking, isn't it? Okay, go ahead and mix that up a little bit. I've got egg all over my hands, so I'm just gonna rinse that off. That's perfect. Okay, you can stop. And now you're gonna do 1/4 cup of applesauce. If you don't have applesauce, then Greek yogurt works, or you can use sour cream or whatever you have in the house. But I have some applesauce, so you can just scoop it. Don't worry about the spoon. Yep, beautiful. All right. Go ahead and mix that up. You can just put that here. Yeah. And I've already mixed, as you saw, the dry ingredients. All right, that's great. And now, I do the dry ingredients just a little bit at a time, like a couple scoops at a time, Nick, because otherwise the flour goes everywhere. And when you start it, just kind of, start it a little slowly so you don't have flour going everywhere. So go ahead and do that with the rest of the flour. I'm gonna take away our garbage. Yep, that looks good. You can bring it over closer. If you bring this over closer, it makes it a little bit less.
You can also do it while it's mixing, but like in smaller increments.
I don't do it while it's mixing because the flour flies. And
Okay.
I like a nice, neat kitchen, as you know.
I can
Okay,
smell them.
there you go. And just go ahead and let's just pour the rest of this in.
I can smell the applesauce.
Can you smell it? How about the bananas? And then do my little trick of just starting it a little bit slow at first. Beautiful. Okay. And then I've got the spatula here because you're going to have to scrape the sides down a little bit. And we're going to prepare our pan. Oh, I forgot to turn on the oven. Turn on the oven at 350. I told you this bread doesn't take very long. Okay, so I'm just going to scoop the sides, the flour down off of the sides so that it gets all mixed in. And then we're going to add about 1 cup of chocolate chips because Nick loves chocolate chips in his banana bread. All right, go ahead and mix that up. And while you take care of, then that's great, getting the chocolate chips, and you can use this cup measurement thing if you want. Sometimes I just pour it. I'm going to prepare the pan. I love using this for my butter so that I can keep my butter at room temperature. It goes in a little bit of water, and you have to change the water about once a week, but that way your butter will keep, and it's perfect for, you have softened butter at all times, which is really handy. I actually have 2 of these, one for the gluten crumbs and one for the non-gluten crumbs. So this is the non-gluten one, but I find it's nice to have soft butter ready because he likes having a bagel or waffles or whatever in the morning, and he likes having his butter ready. So, all right, so I've got our pan really nicely mixed. And let's see how that looks. There, they're perfect. Okay, so go ahead and lift this thing up so we can clean off our, just throw this out. Get your spatula, kind of clean the thing off a little bit. No, you can just do it right where it is. Go ahead, yeah, just do it like that. So Nick is studying data science. I didn't really know what data science was because it wasn't around in my day. So why don't you tell us a little bit about what data science is while I put this into our bread pan?
Yeah, so it basically is just an emerging new field in computer science that deals a lot with data analysis, which can be found in almost every common domain like healthcare, finance, stuff like that. And it's basically just studying big data sets for particular tasks to drive insights in a particular business setting or such as. So
yeah. And with that major, will you be able to get a job right out of college, or what do most people do? Do they go on and get a master's, or do they work for a couple of years? What what are most people in that specialty doing?
Yeah, so from what I know, like a lot of people just get jobs right after graduation, but I know that getting a master's is now getting more common within data science to gain more superior positions. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, we kind of think it would be a good idea to go work for a couple of years, make some money, and then go get a master's. But we'll
Still
see.
trying
Right?
to figure it out.
Yeah, time will tell. So, all right, that was so difficult, wasn't it? And we are going to bake this for an hour at 350 degrees. I think what we're going to do while it's baking is prepare our apple crumble pie. Might as well do that. That's one of our favorite things to have during the holidays. And so I thought we would share that with you because I don't like making pie crust, but I have a way of doing it so it's homemade and it's gluten-free and it always works. So we're going to do that next, but we're going to take a little bit of a break so that we can get all set up for that. And we'll be right back on. Okay? Okay, so the banana bread is cooking. It's got another 36 minutes to go, and we'll be sure to show you that. I spent a little bit of time offline slicing the apples because nobody wants to sit and watch that. It's really actually my least favorite part of making an apple crumble pie. What used to be my least favorite part was making the pie crust until I discovered this recipe where you actually can use either a vegetable oil or I use butter, and we're going to melt the butter and we mix it up and then we just kind of pat it into our prepared pan. So I just buttered the pan just like I buttered the bread pan before. So we're going to start by doing the crust. So Nick, let's go ahead. What we're going to do is you can microwave the butter for I think probably about maybe a minute. We'll see.
All right.
And we're gonna need a few things here. We're gonna do some flour. So to the apples, I already added like a tablespoon of lemon juice. That just keeps them from browning in the whole process of doing this. We are going to do both apples and cranberries or cran apples because it's so pretty. And so the best apples I think are the Granny Smith apples, but I think any apple, whatever is your favorite apple, will work well. The Granny Smith tend not to get mushy. They are a little bit on the tart side, but this is a sweet apple crumble pie. So I think Granny Smith works well, so that's what we've got today. And cranberries are still in season. I've already rinsed them. And so we will be adding them soon enough. So I think while we work on the crust, we can also work a little bit on the filling. So how's that look? Is it melted?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So bring it on over here. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on the crust, and you're going to work
Oops.
on the filling. Okay,
So what am I doing?
you're going to do the filling. So we've got the apples. You're going to add a half a cup of sugar, a quarter of a cup of flour, a quarter teaspoon of cinnamon. That's what you're going to add to this, and you're going to start mixing it up, and here's your spoon. So you have at it, and I'm going to work on our pie crust, which is 2 cups of flour. I already melted 6 tablespoons of butter. With this one, we're going to add some sugar because it's sweet. I've used the same crust before for quiche, and I just don't add the sugar, so you don't want it sweet. All right, so there we go. That's our flour. You're going to need the flour too, I believe.
Yes, 4 cups.
I need the sugar, please. Thank you. I'm going to do 2 tablespoons of sugar. We're just going to be dancing here a little bit. Perfect, Nick. Nick's a chef. I need the salt. I'm gonna do a teaspoon of the salt. One part of this recipe that is optional, and I should have looked it up. Apple cider vinegar. I know apple cider vinegar works really well, like when I'm making a French bread, so it must do something to the crust. It says it's optional, so if you don't have it, you don't have to use it. That's for me. That's water. All right, so did you get everything in there?
Yeah.
All right, go ahead, mix away.
Juice already in here?
Yeah, there's already lemon juice in there. And may I have that water,
Nick, can you move the sugar?
the flour?
Yeah.
There we go, so that they can see what you're working on. We're gonna need the flour for the crumble top too. All right, so here we go. We're mixing away, So with this crust, you just mix it and then you pat it in the pan. So there's no rolling or anything like that. I find it very difficult to find a good gluten-free pie crust. And so I would just much rather make this so that I know that it's nothing that's gonna make me feel sick. But you'll see it's so easy that you may decide, you know what, rather than a store-bought crust, I'm gonna try this instead. I make this every year for Thanksgiving. If I'm invited to go somewhere for a Friendsgiving, I like to make it then. And what I do is I prepare it ahead of time, but I don't bake it. And then while we're eating Thanksgiving dinner, then I stick it in the oven. So it is hot, crispy, so delicious when we're ready to sit down and have dessert. And I like to leave a little bit of time between when we eat our dinner and dessert because, oh my goodness, everyone's so full. All right, so I'm just gonna pour it in here. And as you know, I've already washed my hands and I'm just gonna kind of pat it in there. And there's no real magic to it. You just pat it and get it up on the sides. I'm not going to try to get it up here. My pie is not a fancy pie. If you want a fancy pie, you go to Martha Stewart or someone like that. My pie is delicious. So I'm not worried about anyone, and you'll see why when it comes out. I'm not worried about someone seeing my crust up at the top. And guess what that means? I don't have to worry about my crust browning too much. That's not an issue. So we're just gonna get this so it's all the way up on the sides. And I think that's good enough, don't you, Nick?
Yeah, it looks good.
It looks good, yeah. I find if I mess with it and try and make it too perfect, it just ends up kind of starting to crumble and everything. So, all right, go ahead and put that right on in there. Ah, we forgot the cranberries.
Oh.
Here, we're gonna start over here.
No,
That's my.
what about the crumble?
No, the crumble goes on top. Don't worry about the crumble. Ellie's our videographer. Thank you, Ellie.
Sorry.
Here, just mix these in.
Okay.
The videographer is supposed to be quiet.
No, videographer can. Brittany often speaks. There we go. I don't want to mess up there. That's good. I'll spread this down on the bottom, and no one's gonna know. That's the beauty. Oh wait, no, you all are gonna know. Dave and Ashley aren't gonna know.
So they won't know.
They won't know.
Unless they watch the video.
There, now you can, that looks beautiful. Now pour it back in there. And then we're gonna do the crumble top, Ellie. Don't you worry, I'm not forgetting, because guess what? That is the most important part of this entire dish because it is so delicious.
Well, that's a lot of food.
Just pour it in. Just pour it in. It's okay. Yeah. That's good. What are you getting nervous?
Yeah, a little bit.
No, don't be nervous. It's all okay. It's beautiful. It's explosive. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I didn't need 6 apples. Anyway, it's all right. It's all gonna be good. That's good. Okay. All right. So now we're just gonna use that bowl. You're gonna melt the butter. Here. I'm not gonna even worry about rinsing the bowl. Don't waste those apples.
Okay. So I put the butter in the bowl.
Put the butter in the bowl. And I put it on this, and go ahead and melt that butter while I wash my hands. I'm not used to having a helper.
Nick, put something on top.
I know I am. This is Ellie.
Oh my gosh.
Ellie laughing.
Can you tell? I'm not used to having a helper. I'm gonna just spread some of these cranberries over to the other side. These cranberries are so, they give all this color, and
Can you
they,
move the sugar? It's kind of blocking it. Right there, in front of you.
well, my hands are a mess.
Okay.
Okay, bossy girl, I will.
Sorry.
No, it's good. I like that you are paying attention. You are a good
It's
videographer.
it's for the viewers so they can
I know.
see
I want
our
them to
thing.
see what's going on. We want to pretend this is a professional show here.
Exactly.
Whoop. Okay. So for the topping, again, all right, you don't have to melt butter. You can do softened butter, and then you just use one of those, what do you call it? You know what I'm talking about, pastry blender. Here, I got one right here. You use this. So if you do softened butter, then you mix it with all the dry ingredients and you keep on doing it so it's all crumbly. But we're just going
Do you want me to
to,
completely melt it?
yeah,
Right. Okay.
yeah, we're gonna melt it.
It's weird about it.
We're gonna melt this because I find it's easier to kind of smooth it on there, and it, for some reason, it is a little crispier when it cooks. So I would recommend, if you like doing this recipe, which you have to love slicing apples to like doing it, but I would suggest trying it both ways to see which way you like it better. But when I've got a hot mess going on here where I've got too much fruit in there, I think it'll be easier for us to spread it on with the melted butter. So you gotta keep an eye on it, Nick.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's melted.
All right.
Okay, Nick's an awesome sous chef, can you tell?
No.
I think you're doing great.
No, I think you're doing great too.
Yeah. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're going to, let me get my recipe up. Sometimes I have the recipes memorized, this one I don't. Okay, we're gonna add a cup of flour. So do you wanna go ahead and measure out a cup of flour?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I guess I forgot the water in my crust. Oh, that doesn't matter. And 2/3. I'm used to doing this alone in the kitchen. And when I'm doing it alone, I'm paying attention to every single detail. But when I've got someone else in the kitchen, I'm a little distracted. It's going great. Okay. There you go. That is it. Mix. Go ahead and mix that on up.
We're ready.
2/3. Goodness me. There we go. Okay. Okay, so what we're gonna do, once he gets this all mixed, I guess while you do that, I'll put things away because we are now done making our bread and our dessert. That was so fun. We're starting to smell the banana bread, and it smells really, really delicious, doesn't it, Nick?
Mm-hmm.
The kids love it. If I make banana bread in the morning before they get up and they come down and the house smells like this delicious home-cooked bread, it's really a lot of fun. All right, what do you think? Is it pretty well mixed there?
Yep.
All right, good. So, now the fun part. So we're just gonna try to spread this right on top. And I kind of spread it out a little bit. And you know what, I mean, if stuff is showing, it doesn't matter because again, I'm not Martha Stewart. I'm just making a delicious, delicious pie. And you know, if the cranberries are kind of popping through it, it looks really pretty, right, Nick?
Yeah.
We don't want to waste any of this delicious stuff. Put it on the pie. No wasting in my kitchen.
we all have a little Martha Stewart in us.
Maybe, I don't know. Maybe we do. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I make something look perfect. My pie is not going to look perfect, but it doesn't matter.
I think it's a pretty pie though.
It's going to be, it's not going to be, it's not going to win any awards, but that's okay because it tastes good and it's easy. You saw how easy it was, except for slicing the apples. That wasn't easy. That was easy. That was tedious. There's, I guess, 2 different ways of putting it. And you could always increase the recipe so that you have a little bit more. We're kind of running a little bit short, but we're not going to worry about that because... Oh, by the way, you all know Kristen Harper. Kristen gave me this pie pan / quiche can. And I thought it was super cute that she picked the color teal as touched. I don't know how often you can find something that's teal. So anyway, yeah, I don't know. We'll see how this looks. We will video it when it comes out of the oven. So this is going to bake at 400 degrees for anywhere from 45 to 55 minutes. I'm gonna see if I can spread this over a little bit better, but otherwise I'm just not gonna worry about it because guess what? It is gonna be so delicious. We love it. You have to serve it with vanilla ice cream. It's just the way it goes. So anyway, thank you so much for your help, Nick. And we're gonna just wait till that banana bread is ready. Hit stop so I can see how much time is left. 21 minutes. So we will circle back when we pull that banana bread out so you can see how beautiful it is. I don't think it'll be out of the oven very long before Nick tries to cut into it, is my guess, right? And it's a work of art. You're like Martha Stewart, Nick. Thanks for helping.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Bread is out of the oven. It has cooled off. And Nick is my videographer because Ellie had to go to the gym, which I always encourage. But I always like to do a little shake, make sure that the bread is ready to come out, and you can see it's perfect. And now I'm going to go ahead and slice the banana bread, and as soon as we turn off the video, I bet Nick takes the piece of bread that I took, or that I sliced. And there you see, it is perfect. Ooh, the melted chocolate. I may have to lick the knife. Anyway, so there you go, and we will do a quick video update of the apple crumble pie, which guarantee will not look as perfect as the banana chocolate chip bread, but it'll still be just as delicious. So thanks for coming. Okay, so it's not quite Martha Stewart, but I think it's pretty close.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
What do you have to say, Nick?
I think it turned out just right.
Awesome.
All right, so
Apple
we're gonna just serve up a piece with some ice cream, and this may not be, can you grab a bowl, please? So you can see how pretty it is though.
Yeah. Wow. It's
Hot.
very pretty.
Very hot.
That's very hot.
Okay.
Show it to the camera. Ooh, delish. Look at those cran apples.
Mm-hmm.
I know.
With some ice cream.
Here you go.
Wow, it's beautiful.
Okay.
Okay.
Awesome.
And there
Finish
you
this
go.
off. Awesome. All right.
Thank you.